We're here with Dr. Avila, who I know to be a huge Luis Valdez fan. I mean, how can any of us not be? What are you most excited about today?
Well, Luis Valdez, as a kid growing up, he was one of our heroes, right? He's a creator of Teatro Campesino, who meant so much for the migrant farm worker movement. My family being a migrant family, we all worked in the field, so Luis is such a symbol of hope and everything that he did to create awareness around farm workers. It's just been great. But then his filmmaking, right? He's an artist, a local from San Juan Bautista, and we get to have him here and celebrate him and celebrate his documentary. It's just a very special day for us.
What is it about Luis Valdez's work and the theater and film arts that you think has communicated so effectively to the Chicano community? What message does he send through his works?
Well, the first thing is that he sends a message that resonates so deeply with another Latino that may have lived that story. So when we see a film like that, and then we see a man like him develop, succeed, and make such an impression and influence on our communities, on our Latino communities, not only the Latino communities, it goes beyond that. I mean, it's community-wide throughout the Western states, the whole country, and into Latin America.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what the visual arts does, and theater and movies and literature does. There are it makes a certain connection with a large portion of the population that otherwise they would not have been able to do that. Personally, I'll give you an example. I watched Zoot Suit 20 years ago, which was at Teatro Campesino right here in San Juan Bautista, a tiny little theater, and I brought people with me from the Netherlands. And to this day, they used to remind me over the years about how impactful that movie was to them, to see that right here in our small community. So the visual arts is incredibly important to this community.
Well, saying in some ways, the process of making art, whatever it is, painting or music or film or theater, is an act of self-possession. You possess your soul. You discover your soul, for one, and inevitably that soul is connected to everybody else's soul. So you realize that your work is not just for you, it's for everybody. You're sharing it. It's a communal vibe. And so that's important to know, that art is not a product. Art is a way of life.
I've learned so much from Maestro Luis Valdez. I grew up watching La Bamba. I learned that the Chicano experience is the American experience. I've learned the power of storytelling, the power of representation, the power of education.
What do you think Luis Valdez means for the Chicano community?
Culturally, everything. He has given rise to the Latino community throughout the United States and beyond, particularly by telling his stories through all of the plays that he's produced over many, many years through his Teatro Campesino theater in San Juan Bautista. Of course, with his Broadway smash in 1978 with Zoot Suit, and then in the early 80s with the film La Bamba. And throughout these films, we have seen Luis rise to a phenomenal level, and not only in terms of telling the story so beautifully to the community about our culture, our heritage, everything that we stand for, but also the influence that he has had on his profession, on young filmmakers, which is so valuable.
Seeing his movies and the low budgets that he had, and he still made something so creative and so groundbreaking, especially for the Latino community, it was awesome and really inspiring to push yourself to work with what you got and make it happen. It's as a filmmaker and a film major, I think that's awesome to see somebody's story make it onto the big screen for all of us to see.
As a filmmaker, and it's not even just as a filmmaker, art in general, you're always going to have some type of restriction or a boundary, whether it's this or that. Do you find that sometimes those restrictions or boundaries could even help push your creativity to another level to work around those boundaries?
That's a great question. Limits. You have to know your limits in a way. And when I went to Delano to join the grape strike, that was the biggest question. How am I going to do theater here? What are my limits? And Cesar made it pretty clear there was no money and there were no actors and no time to rehearse, you know, we're on the picket line. So there it was. Teatro Campesino was born on the picket line, you know. And we didn't even have a flatbed truck on the picket line at that time. We had an old panel truck. So the top of the panel truck became our first stage. We could just act from there. And there weren't long pieces. They were more like gestures, you know, cartoons that just to get the workers laughing. But from there, we began to grow. And so, but it was acknowledging the limits, saying, okay, I'm limited. I'm working with non-actors. How can I make this work, you know? I don't have time to train them. So we improvised.
You know, one of the interesting things is there is an industry around film festivals. And with somebody like Luis, he has such an incredible presence and a history that they look for when they're going to film festivals. They look for the Academy Award qualifying. They look for the biggest premiere. They look for those things that could get them to end up being nominated for an Academy Award. What Luis said was, I want to make sure that Watsonville Film Festival and Poppy Jasper gets to show this film before it goes to PBS. And that meant a lot to me. We've had such a great relationship, not just with Luis, but with El Teatro Campesino. And the fact that we do Mexico y Tú, where we focus on Latin films and filmmakers.
My legend is just a basic human story. The Creator lives in all of us, okay? And whether you think he's Buddha or you think he's Jesus or whatever you may think he is, the Creator creates. So every painting, every song, every play, every design of a dress or a meal, all of that are expressions of the Creator. This is the way that we overcome death, is we create life. We create life.
Pachuco is a countercultural movement and also a character in Zoot Suit, El Pachuco. But what does Pachuco mean to you?
What does Pachuco mean to me? It is larger than life. Pachuco is the anti-hero. Pachuco is strength. Pachuco is identity. Pachuco is a part of our history that needs to be remembered and needs to be told.
Well, Pachuco is definitely a character, a persona that was created, I think, in the 1940s. And it was their way of identifying themselves and being different, but being proud of their heritage. It's really a Mexican-American culture, right? At its prime, making a statement, being proud. And so it means a lot. It means a lot. It's part of our culture, and it's part of the Mexican-American culture.
To me, it means like smooth, be cool, be just yourself, and don't let anybody get you down, and just be you at the end of the day.
If somebody was hesitant into getting into filmmaking, what would you tell them to give them that little push?
Okay.
Into getting into film?
Filmmaking is all about images, right? It's all about storytelling through images. So your eyes, what do you see with your eyes? And don't just go flat. Literally get some depth and angles and action and movement. And it's the dynamism of the world, right? And young filmmakers have to claim their camera. Claiming the camera, you claim the lens, and the lens is your eye. And you're the storyteller. With the help of others, a lot of people work on movies, you know, they never get any credit, but it's a team effort. So it helps if you're a better people person. Don't be a dictator. Don't be a shithead, you know? There are plenty of those. There are plenty of those in the movie business for damn sure. You know, the ego runs away with you. You think, okay, I got the power, you know? And I don't know if you've seen filmmakers, there's a joke almost about if you're a filmmaker, you get used to walking down the middle of the street, you know? No matter what the traffic is, you're okay, I'm out here, you know? Well, that's the ego talking, you know? So you have to be careful not to let the traffic hit you.
If you could convey one thing to Chicanos and Latinos who are interested in the arts right now, what would you like to tell them?
Not to sacrifice their dreams. I hear a lot of youth that are so focused on careers that are going to make them money, and I think some of them are willing to sacrifice their dreams of becoming artists. You know, there's so much things that are gratifying about being an artist, and there's also an industry that is also very rewarding financially. So I think Luis is a role model, and I just hope folks don't put aside their dreams because they're being influenced by social media and all these other rhetoric about careers that are high paying. Really follow your dreams, and if art is your dream, follow it.
I'm sorry. Ana Sancho's is closed. Buenas noches.